Hello. What a game that was. Oh my God, that was fun. What a great game. Yeah, sorry about the double countdown there. My little thing only said a couple people were watching, and then I looked at the thing, and the other thing said, whatever. We're here. Opening night. What a fucking game. That game was awesome. Can we please play games like that all the time? God, that was fun. Oh my goodness. What a great game. Started from before the game even started. The opening ceremony, back on the ice, and it was fucking great. Oh my God, it was so awesome. I was so pumped about it. The Kraken thing, whatever, coming through the ice and cracking, and oh, that was awesome. A little cold in there. Had the hand warmers today. I was a little, I needed to put that and do that, but oh man, what a great game though. I mean, I can't get over just like that's everything you want out of a season opener. That's everything you want out of a game like that, and seeing the new team and the way that they played and just everything about that. That is what you're asking for. Like, that was so great. I'm so happy that it went the way that it went, and the Golden Knights getting back in the game that after they blew the lead. Like, there's definitely some red flags about the way the Golden Knights played, but as a whole, you cannot be upset at all with what's going on. Like, I'm definitely excited about all of that, and what a great game. I guess we'll just start from right off the top because there's, I think a lot to talk about in this game, and it starts right off the first shift. It does appear for some reason I can't seem to take comments from Twitter. I don't know what's going on right now. I didn't know that was a thing. So if you're watching this on Twitter and you want to comment, you have to switch over to either Facebook or YouTube. We do seem to be able to get the comments up on YouTube. There you go, Dustin. Got the first goal of the season. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know about this one, that the arena wasn't full. It looked pretty darn full to me, so not entirely sure what was going on. A couple of other people text me that. I would guess it was something to do with kind of the lower levels around where the camera had, and then you always have to remember that those people in the lower levels have different options of where they can go. They can go up on the concourse right in that bar behind them. They have bunker suites underneath. A lot of people will buy some seats and then go up to hide. There's a lot of different places. So that's that. Again, if you want to chat with me on here and you want to get on a comment, you do. It seems like you cannot use Twitter today. This whole new Periscope / Twitter thing, it's working. The stream seems to be working just fine, but for whatever reason, the comments are not coming through, which is fine. It's not a big deal. You just have to go over to YouTube or Facebook, which it appears that they are both working on there. So right off the bat, you have the very first shift of the game, and well, let's get this up there first. Yes, that pregame show, good call, Gianni. That pregame show was spectacular. To me, best one they've ever had. Yes, they cut a jet in half. Yes, I'm aware, but man, what good stuff. Yeah, I guess Twitter streaming kind of sucks sometimes. So, yeah, okay. So the first shift, you had to know that you're going to get a pretty good push out of this team early. And I thought the Golden Knights' style of play through that first period, and especially the first 10 or 15 minutes, I thought was spot on. Like, exactly what you wanted. That's the exact style of play you're looking for, which is basically absorb the punches and make sure that you're ready when they break down, because they will inevitably break down, because they're going to come at you pretty heavily early in that game, that you have to be aware of how you're going to take advantage of these opportunities later. And that's exactly what the Golden Knights did. However, the way that they came out and kind of that first 30 seconds was panic, just complete panic. And it looked really nervy from a Golden Knights perspective. I think they're very fortunate that a couple of different shots in that scenario were not in the back of the net. Like, I think if that game's 1-0 early, we might be looking at something a little bit different. I think Vegas scores a number of times in that game no matter what, because of the fact that it took 35, 40 minutes even for really Seattle to start understanding how much they want to pinch forward, how aggressive they want to be in this forecheck. And then they were able to get themselves back in the game. We'll talk about the shift right after they got themselves back in the game. Maybe don't celebrate like that. I don't know. I thought the celebration was fucking awesome from Geeky. I like hockey. I like fun. That was fun. It's the regular season. Like, maybe I'll take it a little more personally if that was a playoff game. But that's their first game in franchise history. The dude snipes the corner. Like, what a shot. All right, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to the geeky celebration. But for me, that first shift scared me quite a bit, because that's a shift where, like, you're expecting the Golden Knights to be ready to play in that situation. You're expecting them to be able to absorb some of that, be able to exit the zone, and be able to finally find their way onto one of those pucks, and it just flat out didn't happen. They get the tripping penalty. I think that was actually a blessing in disguise, because that put them in a situation where now you're really focused on defending only, where I think at the beginning of that game, they thought, we're going to get possession and we're going to be able to bring this thing out, when they weren't after a couple of times. And again, this all happened in like 25 seconds, so we can't go overboard about it, but we only have the one game. They were drowning early, and then they were able to take that penalty, settle in. I did think there was some good movement on that power play. To me, it's going to be interesting to see how this penalty kill kind of evolves as time goes on. Obviously, they're going to get more of these players back in the lineup. I think Howden will help. Waugh can help. Carrier potentially could be on the penalty kill. I don't think you want Krebs there, even though he was today, and I completely understand why they were going to Krebs and Kolazar throughout this entire game. They basically had to, because otherwise those guys aren't going to get on the ice all that much, because you're playing two guys that literally cannot play, and you knew that they could not play. And basically 5 minutes into the game, you understand we're a three-line team here with one extra skater in Kolazar. We're going to have to find ways to get him minutes. I get why they're doing that, but to me, the second Smith and Karlsson left the ice, the Golden Knights were under it, a little bit there. And so that makes me a little bit nervous moving forward, understanding that there is the possibility that you're going to see situations where teams are going to kind of just try to get that zone entry, really attack when those two are on the ice, make sure they don't give up the shorty, and then get themselves going forward for the remainder 90 seconds. I basically said it later in the game. They got one, I think it was in the third period. I guess it must have been the second period, because it was on the left-hand side. I basically said, like, you take this penalty, just rip shots at the goal for the first 30 seconds and do whatever you can to get Smith and Karlsson off the ice. And then once you have them off the ice, now you can find some different things. I'll get into it along the way this season about what my concerns are of the penalty kill. I have them. They did a good job today, but you're also playing against a team that's never had a game. I don't think they were going to be particularly sharp. So before I move on, I'll tell you that this Periscope and all Periscopes, as it says right there, are brought to you by Conler & Associates CPAs. Have questions about unemployment, gambling tax, all this crypto gains that you're on, if you've bought into the Ethereum or you're in on Zed Run or Chicken Derby or any of the other stupid NFTs that I'm in on, and you're making billions. I have not made billions, but maybe you are. I don't know. If you have a crypto punk or crypto kitty or crypto some other whatever, I don't think I'm supposed to swear in the middle of ad reads, so I won't. If you have any of that, go to Conler CPAs. Conler & Associates CPAs are the best. One of the best, if not the best. I think they're the best, and that's why I'm allowed to say it. They are phenomenal, and tell them that SinBin sent you. You get a free consultation. They'll hook you up. And don't forget that Friday, not tomorrow, not the next day, but Friday, so this Friday, like 3 days away, is the last day that you can file tax extensions. If you need to do that, make sure you go to conlercpa.com. Call them first thing tomorrow morning. They are swamped with these extensions, but they want to help you too. They will make sure that they get you in before Friday. Make sure you call them first thing tomorrow morning, conlercpa.com. Moving on, after that penalty kill. So the second they kill that penalty, this is when you really saw Seattle come forward and really get aggressive in the middle zone and the offensive zone. That's really when they were trying to take advantage of the Golden Knights not quite having their feet underneath them, or at least that's what they felt was going to be the case. It actually ended up not being the case, and instead what happened was Vegas was able to take these moments, find the gaps in these situations, and then what they did very, very well, and I think this was a concerted effort going in, was patiently attack offensively. I think what they wanted to do was get the puck in, carrying it in, They did a good job when they were able to do that, when they had these opportunities to carry it in. They were able to carry the puck in, do the right thing there, and then going from there, they were able to find the right opportunities, find good spots, put themselves in a position to make something happen, to score goals, and take advantage of these moments where you were going to see a little bit of a scrambly defense. And I thought we saw that over and over and over tonight, where we saw that scrambly defense, where they would have, Seattle is the they would have situations where they didn't necessarily know who's supposed to pick up who on the rush. I don't think that their setup and their systems are quite in place yet. I also am not a huge fan of their coach, so maybe I don't even know that the systems are going to be that good down the road. We will see. I do think they are a good team. I think that might be a playoff team. I feel better about saying that Seattle can be a playoff team today than I did yesterday, and I was saying that when it was 3-0. As the game went on, what happened is a combination of two things. One, Seattle is going to be the type of team that is going to come at teams, that is going to roll at teams in waves, that is going to forecheck you to death, cause you to turn the puck over, and Corsi you to death. That's what they're going to do. It reminds me a lot of the Golden Knights in 2017-18. Now, I don't want to make ridiculous, over-the-top comparisons of those two teams. I just think that stylistically, they look fairly similar right now. That's not a bad idea if you're Seattle. By the way, you want to comment on this, get off of Twitter and go to YouTube or Facebook. Twitter comments are not seemingly working, but Facebook comments are. I'm seeing all the comments on Facebook on the side. I'll get to some of those later as we go on. We will try and figure out the Twitter stuff for tomorrow. Either way, we're going to have live people on camera tomorrow that we will have during goalie interference with Mike McKenna. He was pumped watching this game. Lots of good stuff. We'll get him into the Leonard performance. So much good stuff coming up tomorrow. That's 7 o'clock right here, same place. I'd recommend watching on YouTube. It seems to be better. We might even go ahead and put it on Twitch tomorrow. I don't know. We will see. But what the Golden Knights were up against today was a team that was going to come at them in waves, that was going to heavy forecheck, that was going to aggressively go after the puck in the offensive and neutral zones and really use their defensemen to try to extend possessions. It's a style of hockey that I think the best I've ever seen it played was the Blues during that postseason run where they went on to win the Stanley Cup. They utilized their defensemen to be that last forechecker to really get after them. They did a good job of doing that. And what happened is, with the Golden Knights only having 3 lines, I threw out my sheet, and now I feel like an idiot because I did that. Pavel Dorofeyev only played 5 shifts. He played like 4 minutes. Coughlin played about the same. Not a lot going on. The Golden Knights basically had 3 lines. And even with those 3 lines, they have a third line that is still kind of a work in progress. Krebs, Patrick, Dadonov, sorry. I don't know that I saw a ton out of them. I did like where Patrick was headed. I like if you have a heat map of where Patrick was in the offensive zone, I think we're going to like to see more of that. I didn't really see a lot of the puck getting to him. One time on the left-hand side of the net to the left, so it must have been the third or first period. I don't know. I can't remember. He had an opportunity. I want to say it was the third period. He had a good chance. Doesn't find its way in, but again, that's where you want that player. That's the type of player that the Golden Knights haven't really had. I think he can be that, and he can do that. Krebs was kind of getting muscled off the puck at different times today. I don't necessarily think he was quite up to speed, which is fine. It's the first game he's played in a long time. It's only his 4th NHL game overall. Doesn't shock me. And again, I think the Seattle team's going to be a fast team that you're going to look back and say, wow, that team really moves. That team gets their feet going. That team's very good at puck retrieval off of shots. It's not going to be an easy team to beat. Now, the good news is the Golden Knights are better than them. The Golden Knights are better than most teams in the NHL. And as long as they play their style of game, even if they're shorthanded because they're playing short 2 forwards, they're still going to be able to put themselves in a good position. The red flag, though, is 2 things. 1, power play, absolute disaster yet again. I've been concerned about the entry. I just don't think that without Tuck there, they're going to be able to consistently enter. And I know he's only on one unit, but that unit needs him to help enter, and I don't think that that's going to be there. Patrick was carrying the puck across. I didn't particularly like that. I like Theodore with it, but I think that Theodore is too much known that what he's going to do when he gets to the puck. I don't think there's enough kind of variety in their entries when Theodore's carrying it up, where I think the variety is there with Tuck. So I'm concerned about entries, and they were a nightmare in this game. And then nearly give up the shorthanded shot. Good thing Brandon Tanev doesn't have hands. The Golden Knights lose if he can finish any opportunity that he has. Little Brendan Leipzig-y, the way I saw him playing today. He looked okay, but like that's the type of thing where that power play, yes, it's 3-0. Yes, it was 2-0 for all three of those power plays the Golden Knights had. They had these opportunities. That's a chance to stomp that game out. If you go up 4-0, good night. Like, that's it. It's over. So that's an opportunity to get rid of this hockey game. And they didn't do it. They just flat out were not able to do it. And that's because the power play continues to have problems entering, continues to not seem to have all that much of an idea of what they want to do in the offensive zone when they finally get set up. They're very predictable, which is a huge problem, and something that I think is going to continue being a problem moving forward. And I just don't know, and I didn't see really any benefit. It's one game, relax, but I didn't see a huge benefit of having Dadonov on there. I didn't see a huge benefit of having Patrick on there, where, that's supposed to be the difference. It looked very similar to me. And then I also wonder, do you actually want to use a power play unit that is actually a normal 5-on-5 setup, which is the misfit line with Pietrangelo and Martinez behind them? I'm not sure that that's a true power play line. Like, I understand why they're doing it that way. It should bring more cohesiveness, but there's a reason you don't see that very often. And the reason is because usually you're missing an offensive player in that group. And I think that is probably the case for that unit. I don't know who it has to be, but I don't expect these power play lines to stay the same way that they've been or were or have been or whatever. I think they will change moving forward. That's probably the first place I think you see the change, is one of those guys will come off. Again, the problem I have, and the main problem I've had with it, is I don't think that Alec Martinez should be Alex Ovechkin in this power play. And that's basically what it's become. When they're out there, all it is trying to funnel the defense to one side, and then they usually have to hit two passes to get it over. And at that point, you're basically saying, Alec, put it in the spot where the goalie is not. He's very good at doing it. He will do it from time to time, but it's far too predictable. And as teams learn more and more about the Golden Knights power play, and as we will see in a postseason series, or if they play a team a couple of times, the goalie will be ready for it, and they will not be able to score. Grubauer has played the Golden Knights a lot. He was ready for a lot of what they saw on that power play. Otherwise, it was basically off the entry or directly off the draw where there are opportunities to get the goals. You got to have more than that. It has to be more variety in how you're attacking. I just think there has to be more options. And I think that starts with shifting where players are, spreading guys out, trying to pull guys underneath the goal line, taking maybe more risks to activate a defenseman off the blue line, or if it's a forward, activate him off the blue line. Have these options, and I just don't see it. And I'm concerned that already they're 0-3. They're going into another team they've seen a lot, another team that's going to be ready for them. What is it going to look like? This power play is still going to be a work in progress. And to me, I don't think there were all that many positive signs to believe that this was going to get any better today. We'll go on to what I guess becomes the main story out of this game, and I don't know where this necessarily goes moving forward. It's very interesting that it was as big of a deal as it was. I don't think at least I can say this, I was not expecting this walking into the press conference room after that game, that the main topic of conversation and what really would stick out in this game to the Golden Knights, both their head coach and their captain, and I have to assume that those guys speak for most of the rest of the bench, if not all of the rest of the bench. They were fed up and not happy at all with the Morgan Geekie celebration. Now, it was a lot. Like, it's a stick twirl. He then sheaths it. He then, I don't remember if he actually pounded on the glass or waved on the glass or whatever. And then he skates right in front of the Golden Knights bench. I didn't see that portion of it. Apparently, he stares down the Golden Knights bench. This is a 23-year-old kid getting an opportunity in a much bigger spot than he's ever been in. It's opening night. It's the first game in franchise history. He hits the game-tying goal after his team is down 3-0. That's a massive goal for him, for his teammates, for that city, for that franchise. That's a huge goal. So the celebration, to me, does not bother me. But I can understand how the Golden Knights can really not like that at all, coming from a player like him who does not have a ton of time in the NHL, does not really have the ability to show anyone up, especially on the road in the team's first game ever. I understand why they took that personally. The good news is when the Golden Knights took something personally, they went out and immediately scored a goal. We'll talk about the kicking motion. It is a good goal. You really go into the rule. I'll explain a little bit further why that is a good goal and why anyone who thinks that is a kicking motion should actually be arguing the rule and the way that the rule is written as opposed to the interpretation of it. The interpretation of it's actually right. We'll get into that later. It's the celebration that I find interesting. For Mark Stone to come out and really kind of slam this kid in the press conference after this game, and then DeBoer to back it up and basically say there's going to be a learning lesson for that kid. I'm not sure that's actually how it's going to be received in the Seattle locker room. I'm interested in how that's going to go, how they're going to rebound from coming back in this game and then not getting the point. We will see what happens with them. I'm not all that worried about Seattle. I'm more worried about the Golden Knights. Dropping a 3-0 lead is enough to piss you off. You then have the extra piece that pisses them off even more, and they go out and they show it and they score the goal. Now, the concern that I have is that goal, like the other ones, is set up off of errors that Seattle has. Now, you have to take advantage of the opposing team's errors. I'm not saying that is any sort of a problem. What I'm saying is we're looking at this season and the course of this season, assuming things go somewhat similarly to how we expect them to go, which means the Golden Knights will beat most of the bad teams, will be in playoff position most of the season, will be constantly looking forward to April. I think that's kind of where I will see this season going. If that is the case, you're constantly going to be evaluating how do they respond in certain situations? How do they respond in what would be playoff situations? And in this case, in a game that has a lot of intensity, that definitely had meaning by that point, how would they respond? I would have liked to have seen the game just completely shift towards Vegas. It did for a moment. They took advantage of the moment. Great job by them. I love that out of the Golden Knights. I think that's excellent to be able to do that. But I wonder if you're playing a more experienced team and you're frustrated, are you actually able to flip the ice on them when things are going against you? And that's a goofy play that they score on, that Geekie gets his goal on. It's not exactly something that I think is a huge problem. I don't see any sort of, crazy, systematic issues or underlying issues that allows that goal. I get how Leonard, misses that one. We'll talk to Mike again tomorrow a little bit more about that. I'll defer to him to kind of give a bit more information on the goaltending and how that went down. I thought Leonard's game was okay, leaning towards good. I certainly don't think it was bad. I would not have blamed this game on Robin Leonard had they lost the game. I guess they would have to have given up a fourth goal if that were to have been the case. But he was good enough. We'll get again more from Mike. But the way that they responded was very good in that they get the goal. How the goal happens is interesting Because you kind of look back at that, and they get the two, I guess it's a 2-on-1 rush. They get the puck kicked into the goal, and the rule states that it basically has to be a direct kicking motion, which is effectively foot swinging forward. It can't be any sort of directing of the skate or stopping or any of that. And I think the players are pretty well aware that as long as the foot does not sweep through as if it's a field goal, they're going to get away with it. I think Chandler Stevenson knew what he was doing in that situation. I think if you actually go by the spirit of what the rule is supposed to say, that should not be a goal. But the way that it's written, the way that they've legislated it over the past couple of years, and the way that currently they have to call them, that is not a distinct kicking motion. That is a good goal. I understand. I would be frustrated if it were backwards. I think the blame goes in the rule, not the ruling. I don't think they misruled that play. It is not a kicking motion according to the current rule. To me, that goal should not count. You should not be able to kick the puck in that way. You should not be able to purposely direct the puck off your skate into the goal. That's me. That's not hockey to me. That's something else. But rule is what it is. I think they got it right. I was a little surprised at the beginning. I thought it was more of a kicking motion. The more I watched the play, the more that I thought, we saw. I thought there was some purposeful kicking there. Let me pull the banner off, and we'll get some of these questions up here. Again, if you want to ask questions, you seemingly cannot do it on Twitter tonight. I'm not entirely sure why. I'll try to fix that later. Please hop over to Facebook or YouTube, and maybe I'll make a Twitch tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. To ask some questions. So this one, please talk us through the third goal. So I don't fully understand it. I'm assuming it catches a stick. I have not watched the whole thing back. I'm not all that concerned about who they rule the goal to. But Nick Hague loses it, and they give it to Pacioretty. I would guess they look at it a couple more times. I don't fully understand that. How do we feel about losing Patrick Brown on waivers? Do you think he would have been a regular starter? I do not think it would have been a regular starter. As far as losing him on waivers, it's not ideal. Like, you have a guy that's probably a usable player that you like to have as kind of a 14th or 15th forward when you have some injuries. I think he plays in tonight's game if he does not get claimed. So I guess you could put it in for just that game alone. But I think when push comes to shove, they get to the postseason. I don't think there was any way that you were going to see Patrick Brown in any significant role. So I'm not all that concerned about losing him. I don't think he's going to be a horribly impactful player. He's an excellent locker room guy. He's a great dude. He's fun to talk to. I like the guy a lot. I'm very happy for him that he's not going to be jerked around back and forth between the NHL and the AHL. He's going to get a full season. That's great for him. Unfortunate for the Golden Knights that they lose him, but again, it doesn't change much. Like, you're talking, like, if you want to do point shares, and that's a stat that I really like on hockeyreference.com, like, how many points does he accumulate over the course of a season? And then you would have to kind of put it against the replacement. So if they were to play someone else in that spot, Gage Quinney or someone like that, Sven Berchi, I don't think it's even a 0.1. Like, I think it's a fraction of a point, if that you're losing. So I'm not all that concerned about it. How do we feel about Pietrangelo tonight? Unbelievable. Like, he was spectacular. When that guy is making the plays he's making defensively and then immediately pushing it into offense, he's ridiculously dangerous. And it's just something that I don't think we fully saw last season. I don't really understand why. The comment that Stone made today was he kind of dipped his toe in last season and didn't want to step on anybody's feet. I don't really understand that. You got paid $8.8 million for 8 years or 7 years, whatever it is, forever. You're a former captain. You're coming off a Stanley Cup a couple years ago. Like, come in here and play your game. Like, I don't understand why he's got to conform to the Golden Knights when he's an elite player. We didn't see the elite player for 56 games last season. We've seen it for 18 straight in the postseason. We saw it for all the preseason games he played, and then we saw it tonight. This guy was spectacular once again. He's an absolute difference maker, and the biggest part of his game, especially tonight, that really shines through to me was in the defensive zone. He's breaking up plays and immediately chipping them into the offensive zone and then joining the rush and becoming an offensive option that has to spread this defense out, a defense that is inexperienced playing together, opening things up. I don't know that they scored a goal on any of them, but the bigger part was the Golden Knights were drowning at different times in their own zone. So when they had these clean zone entries, when they were getting 3-on-2 rushes or even 3-on-3 rushes, sometimes 2-on-2 rushes, when Seattle was getting that, they were utilizing it to take a long time in the Golden Knights zone. That wastes offensive shifts for good players for the Golden Knights, and it ends up putting you in positions where you're defending, you get tired, and you're playing out of your own end. Very challenging to play a full game that way. His play, breaking up a number of those plays, really helped out a lot. Thoughts on the ESPN coverage? I was at the game, so I did not watch the game. I am well aware that it said VGS on the bug. I don't know that that's going to change anytime soon. Maybe they get yelled at enough. They have been using VGS since the Golden Knights became a franchise. Like, I can remember it being on the bottom line on June 22nd, 2016 on ESPN, and it said VGS, new franchise gets awarded to Vegas. Like, they have gone with VGS forever. If you go on ESPN.com, it says VGS. They have always used it. I don't know why. It is stupid. It makes them look stupid. I don't get it. But that's what it is. Were you surprised Stone beat out the icing? No, because I think positionally he knew what's going to happen there. I don't think he's even skating all that hard because he's dead tired at that point. I just think you're in a situation where they've had a long shift. The game's ending. They ran out of gas, and he's the one to be able to get there. All in all, entertaining game, Gary. Yes, 100%. Awesome game. Martinez, to me, he didn't stand out as much as I thought he would, dealing with some of the issues that the Golden Knights were having in their own zone. I want to look at it again because a lot of times I learn a little bit more about where the breakdowns were happening on their exits. Because I thought their exits were not great today. I don't think they were horrendous. I think the bigger problem was they were not retrieving pucks as well off of the shots, off of block shots, off of missed shots, save shots, these types of things. I think you saw kind of what was described in the first year for the Golden Knights as the dog on bone thing, where they're just everywhere after they shoot pucks. I think you saw that out of Seattle tonight, and the Golden Knights didn't handle it all that well. I'd like to go back and learn a little bit more about who it was that was out there for a majority of these shifts that were happening. I know, everyone was out there at different times. I thought there would be better moments for Martinez. Offensively, I think he's certainly a good option. He's certainly a great option on the power play. We'll see where his season heads. We'll see. I don't necessarily think you're going to get what you got last year out of Martinez. That was kind of almost a career year for him. I don't think you're going to get that every single year. So to me, that means there could be a little bit of a drop-off. How significant it is, how they react to some of that, we'll have to wait and see. What is this? Oh, third goal deflected off of the shin. Okay. Did they miss Reeves tonight? Simple answer, no. The overhead wire cam, Jason said he was getting sick watching it on TV. Again, I don't know. I'll watch the game tomorrow on the ESPN broadcast, so I'll get more information about kind of how that looked. Whatever. One more time, let me tell you that this Periscope is brought to you by Conlon & Associates CPAs. Friday is the deadline for tax extensions. Make sure if you need help on that, go to conlercpa.com. Tell them SinBin sent you. They'll hook you up with a free consultation and get all your taxes taken care of. They are fantastic over there. Big Golden Knights fans, big SinBin fans, a great supporter of these Periscopes. The reason we do them this often, and it feels like I've been a while since I've been able to do one, is because of Conler CPAs. They are awesome. How comfortable are with you with Leonard as the undisputed starter? Very. I'm well aware that a lot of people are not. I'm well aware that he is going to find himself in a scapegoat role quite often. I saw it a little bit in the second period. I guess it was third period when they tied the game. You're going to see it. I don't have any concern about it at all. I think he's a legitimate NHL starter. I guess I would have a little bit of concern about how he holds up with the ebbs and flows of a season. It's not a big concern. It's just we haven't seen it. He hasn't been an undisputed starter for a long time. So with that, there's a little bit of concern there. But it's not a massive concern. It's not something that I think about all the time when I think about what could potentially trip this team up. I guess it's in the mix, but as a whole, I'm not concerned about it at all. I picked him to finish near the top of the Vezina voting. I will stand by that. Obviously, this is not a great start statistically, giving up 3 goals. I think you're going to want to be more down in the low 2s. We'll see what he looks like on Thursday. I think you're going to get a really good effort out of the Kings. I think this is a good time for the Kings to come out and put in a good effort. I'm interested in how they look. Taylor says the top 6 look phenomenal. I would say offensively, yes. I would say that they were part of the problem of being unable to kind of get themselves out of their own zone at different times. But in the end, when you have a lead like they were able to get, and the top 6 was a huge part of getting themselves that lead, when they were able to get these opportunities, you saw that they were able to bury them. I am not surprised that Seattle came out looking the way they did. I thought they actually have the personnel to play the style that gives the Golden Knights troubles. I don't think that they played that style, and that's fine. I don't think you want to play that style because that's not going to win you enough games to get to the postseason. That's not what you want to do. So I guess in a way I'm disappointed that we didn't see that because I think they have the personnel to do it. And it would have been interesting to see what that game would have looked like if they wanted to muck it up and kind of sit in front of their own goal and play that style that has given the Golden Knights troubles. Would have been nice to see kind of how does Dodonov change what that looks like? How does Patrick change what that looks like? Didn't happen tonight. No big deal. Saw a different style. It's an exciting style of Seattle. I'm looking forward to watching more Seattle. But as far as judging the top 6, I don't think that the way that the Golden Knights scored a majority of their goals, and I might be able to actually say all 4, the kicking one, I need to go back a little bit more. I was so fed up, or not fed up, but caught up in the actual kicking motion that I don't really remember everything about how that play went down before it. I need to go back and study that a little bit more. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow as well on goalie interference at 7 p.m. Nice plug there. Most of them are inexperienced defending errors. And that's not to say they're inexperienced players just not playing with each other and they are not playing in the system and everybody's playing in a new system. You're going to have some breakdowns. And a lot of the breakdowns were happening in the neutral zone, which allowed the Golden Knights to carry the puck in. And the Golden Knights are super dangerous off the rush. When they have these opportunities, they bury them. Marchessault finds a way. Haig is the trailer, is going to put that puck on net and get the opportunity to, in which case it bounces off the shin. So, the Golden Knights are dangerous in that situation, but that's not how they're going to win the Stanley Cup. That's not the way. And again, it's game 1 of 82. I understand that, my focus can't always be on what's going to win them 16 playoff games, and we have to kind of go through the course of this season. But to me, that's the only thing that's in the back of my head through the course of the season. If it looks the same over 82 games and there's not a huge build on other things that are happening, so Taylor adds that with the workload, that's perfectly fair. The fact that they're basically playing 75% of the game between 2 lines, that's tough. What else do we have? Will there be guests on tomorrow on NT? I don't even understand that question. I guess we'll take some very final questions here. If you, again, last call for questions. If you're on Twitter, it seems like you cannot ask questions on Twitter. I don't see any comments on the bottom of there, but whatever. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook. It seems that those are going through better. Are you concerned about any of your bold predictions after game 1? No, I don't think so. I guess the Leonard one, I still think he's going to be very good. I guess the one maybe I'm most concerned about is Seattle. I thought they looked good. I thought they looked a lot like what the Golden Knights did in their first season. It's going to be tough to play against. And a lot of the buzzwords were there. Forecheck, turnovers, hard work, puck retrieval, like a lot of that stuff, depth, waves, these are all words that we heard about the expansion Golden Knights, and we know what that team did, and we know how often it caught some of these teams off guard, and I think it did to the Golden Knights to a degree. So I guess maybe that one that, like, do I think they're going to win the Cup final? No, but I think they're a playoff team. I think they might actually be like maybe pushing 100 points. I don't know. Like they look good to me. So I don't know. Do you think the Golden Knights are still in an Eichel? Yeah, as long as Eichel is on Buffalo, I think the Golden Knights are going to be poking around. In the end, I don't know how they're going to be able to make this happen. I just think the cost is going to be so prohibitive against the cap and then against how you're going to have to mix your roster up to make it happen. So I don't see it happening, but I'm not ruling it out because as long as he's on the Sabres, he has to go somewhere else. And every day he's on the Sabres, the price should be coming down a little bit. Eventually, maybe it does match up for the Golden Knights. I don't know. Kenny on Ice updates. Yeah, we're going to do it. I don't know when. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. To be completely honest, I have zero interest in doing it while the mask mandate is still in, so it will not happen during that. Like, I'm not wearing a mask on the damn ice. Like, just not. And I don't even know if you have to, but, like, let's get past any of the COVID bullshit before we even think about doing that. But, yes, I think I owe 2 of them. I think they actually, no, I guess they didn't get the 85. I think they got the 84, right? 82, whatever. So, but I definitely owe 1 of them. We will do it again. For those of you who don't know what Kenny on Ice is, when the Golden Knights get to 85 points, I rent out a rink at City National Arena, and we invite everybody to come skate. Skate rental's free. You get out there for free. Come make fun of me because I suck at skating. So have some fun with that. Do you think Dadonov will be effective in the top 9 role? I think it's too early to guess on that. To be honest, it's a huge concern of mine. To me, he did not do anything today to make me feel any differently about how I felt going in. I'm not going to judge the guy after 1 game. I'm not going to go overboard on it, but there are red flags there based on his last season and then based on where he's slotting into this lineup. I think it's going to be a tough sled for him. It's going to be a tough sled for Patrick. I think it's going to be a tough sled for whoever else is on that line, whether it's Krebs or Janmark or Wah, Kolazar, whoever is there until Tuck comes back. And then once Tuck comes back, where are we? So that's my question. Thoughts on Krebs? Not great. Not terrible. The move on Fleury was fucking awesome. So, like, that was cool. And super impressive to be able to see him take on a guy at the blue line and completely just pants him. I would have liked to see a little bit more after the move happens, but that's all right. No big deal. I thought he was getting muscled off the puck a little bit. I thought he wasn't quite up to speed where I think he could have been. I think he'll get better. Not all that concerned about it. To be completely honest, I don't think he's on the roster if the team is fully healthy. And if that happens in the near future, I don't think he's done anything to this point to make that a change. So we'll see. But again, no, I was not overly blown away by him. Seattle third in the division is no longer unrealistic. Honestly, yeah, I don't think it ever was unrealistic, to be completely honest. Seattle looked a lot better than they did in preseason, as did VGK, 100%. It's no doubt that was going to happen. Buffalo is using Eichel to get to the cap floor. Yeah, that makes sense. So yes, they would have to take money to get him to do that. I think that, again, the issue with the money to me is not whether you're giving it away. Inevitably, the Golden Knights will have to give money away. It's, are you getting the value? Is Buffalo actually valuing the $5 million of Riley Smith? Are they valuing whoever else is in that deal's money? I don't know that you're actually getting the value out of it. Like, let's say you were immediately to put Dadonov in that trade. You traded a 3rd-round pick and Nick Holden for him. I think if he's in an Eichel trade or in a Eichel fallout trade, you're maybe getting a 7th. You might actually owe. So in that respect, concerns me. Yeah, I think I agree. Morgan Geekie has a chance to be William Karlsson, the Kraken. I would agree. He's younger than Karlsson was when he was doing it. I think his role will continue to increase. I like the player. I don't think, if I were him, I wouldn't be listening at all to what the Golden Knights are yapping about a celebration. You be you. Have fun. That was fun. Like, it's an expansion team. There's not a lot of pressure on them. Golden Knights took it a little bit too seriously, in my opinion, but they turned it into a game-winning goal. So, like, good for them. Whether that's actually something you should have taken that seriously or not, who gives a shit? The Golden Knights scored the game-winning goal right after it. Good for them. Looking at the fully healthy roster with Tuck on the bottom six, and did the front office front load with players to make a move on a specific trade? I think I'm too far off to kind of look at the trade deadline at the moment. I think I need to see a lot more of a lot of different players before we get to that point. I'd like to see a little bit of experimentation with different guys on different lines and different opportunities and all of that good stuff. I don't know, like, they're going to make a trade. We know they're going to make a trade. They always make a trade at the deadline. We'll see. When Tuck's healthy, I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know who else is healthy at the time. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to go overboard about that. All in all, what a fucking great game. Like, I was talking to some of the guys in the press box. Like, the Golden Knights played 56 regular season games last season. I think this one would have been number one, maybe two, behind one of those Colorado games. The Minnesota games were a mess. I know some of them were good games. They were a mess. This was a legitimately fun hockey game to watch. That was excellent. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's not just because it was the first game of a new season. Like, that was a fun hockey game to watch. I'm worried a little bit, to be completely honest, that it was Seattle delivering some of that style as opposed to Vegas, and we might go back into some of the boring that we've seen in the past against the Kings on Thursday. But I don't know. I'll be there. I'm traveling down there. I'm hoping we'll see whether I'm going to be able to do a Twitter space afterwards. I have to hit the road right after the game, so we're definitely not going to do a Periscope after that game. That would also be 3 days in a row on these live streams, which seems like way too much of my fucking face for any of you to see. But I would like to do a Periscope or a Twitter space. I like getting you guys to talk after some of these games. It's fun to kind of hear you guys interact with me and hear some of your voices. That's fun for me. So hopefully we can make that happen. I don't know. We'll see. Internet connection, time of night, I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. It's a 7:30 game, which means fuck. By the time we get out of there, it'll be 11:30. Maybe we don't. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know if you want me to do that afterwards, if you want me to push to try and do it. Thanks again to Conler and Associates CPAs for joining us again this season as a sponsor of the Periscopes. So happy to have those guys on board. Please take care of them. If you need any tax needs, go to Conler CPA. Don't think about anybody else. Please go to them. If you enjoy these Periscopes, they're the reason why they keep happening. They are the sponsor behind it. They're the reason they keep happening. They're going to keep happening because of Conler and Associates CPAs. Please send your business there. It means a ton to me. It means a ton to our site and everything we do. Again, tomorrow, Goalie Interference, the debut of our new show right here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Mike McKenna will join us. We'll talk about all sorts of different things. I think you're going to really enjoy Mike's perspective on a number of things. I think you might get to see a new side of Mike that you haven't seen before. I think people are going to really enjoy what he has to bring. And already we had a text string during this game, and already he and I are batting heads about a couple of different things. It's going to be fun. Butting heads, I think, is the way to say that. So it's not just going to be a round table. I think it's going to be some discussion and some anger, and I might swear at him a few times. I don't know. We'll see. That's it for tonight. Hell of a game. Golden Knights are in first place of the entire NHL. Back in a tie for the President's Trophy, right where they belong. Let's go. See ya another next time. I don't know. Tomorrow. Fuck. See you tomorrow. 7 o'clock. Goalie Interference. See you then.